Okay, let's dive right in. Look, if you've ever worked with PgBouncer, you know that feeling, right? That pit in your stomach when one tiny little change suddenly locks everyone out. It's awful. Well, today, we're going to tackle one of the most common and honestly most frustrating login errors you'll ever see.
Yeah, that one. Does that look familiar? If you're seeing fatal server login has been failing splashed all over your logs and your apps can't connect, don't worry. You are in the right place. We're going to get this sorted out and fast.
And that's the thing that drives you crazy, isn't it? You did one simple, totally normal thing, and the whole system just fell over. So, what's going on here? This isn't some weird bug. It's actually a classic case of two systems just not speaking the same language. So, let's play detective and figure this out.
Okay, so to really get what went wrong, we first have to introduce the key players in this drama. The easiest way to think about it, it's like security at an exclusive nightclub.
First, you've got your application. This is the guest. They just want to get into the party and, get the data they came for. Simple enough. Then you have PgBouncer. And just like the name says, it's the bouncer at the door. It's his job to check IDs, make sure you're on the list, and basically keep the line moving smoothly so the party doesn't get overwhelmed. And finally, the database itself. That's the exclusive party. It's got its own internal security, its own master guest list, and here's the key. The bouncer at the door needs to be able to talk to the security inside the party to make sure everything lines up. So, everything's working perfectly, right? The guests are getting in, the party's hopping, and then you do one little thing, and suddenly, bam, the doors slam shut, no one gets in. So, what was that one tiny change that broke everything? This right here. This is the inciting incident. You did everything right. You updated the auth user's password, you put it in the user list text file, you reloaded PgBouncer. Textbook stuff. But here's the killer detail, the one thing that mattered. Your database decided to store that new password using the modern, super secure SCRAM-SHA-256 encryption. And that single, seemingly innocent detail, that's what caused the system-wide meltdown. All right, so when things go sideways like this, where's the first place you look? The logs, of course. They're your crime scene. That first server login failing error, it doesn't tell you much. But if you dig into the PgBouncer logs themselves, that's where you find the smoking gun. And boom, there it is. This is the aha moment. The log is literally screaming the answer at us. It says it cannot do SCRAM authentication because the password is a SCRAM secret, but it didn't get any SCRAM keys. What does that mean in plain English? PgBouncer is walking up to the database, it sees this brand new high-tech SCRAM lock on the door, and it's basically saying, whoa, I have no idea how this works. I only brought my old school MD5 key. It's trying to open a digital lock with a physical key. It's just never going to work. And this slide just lays it all out perfectly. This is the fundamental mismatch. Your database, the party, upgraded its security. It now demands this really secure multi-step handshake that's SCRAM-SHA-256. But PgBouncer, our bouncer at the door, is still stuck in the past. It's configured to ask for a simple, old-school ID card, that's MD5. So the bouncer is asking for a driver's license, and the party's security is demanding a secret handshake and a retinal scan. They are completely talking past each other. But here's the good news. Once you see the problem this clearly, fixing it is actually pretty straightforward. You've got two main ways to solve this, two paths to get everyone speaking the same language again. Okay, so method one is basically to make the password match the old configuration. You're telling the database, hey, hold up, let's go back to the old way of doing things for a minute. You force it to use MD5, you reset the password so it generates a new MD5 hash, you copy that hash into your userlist.txt, and you reload. Everything's back in sync the old-fashioned way.
And this is the command that makes it happen. Alter system set password_encryption equals MD5. You run that on your database, and you're essentially forcing it to speak MD5 again, which is the language your PgBouncer already knows.
Now, method two is the better way to go, for sure. It's the modern approach. Instead of downgrading your database's security, you upgrade PgBouncer to catch up. You're teaching the bouncer the new secure handshake. You just change its config to use SCRAM, give it the new SCRAM secret, and now everyone is aligned on the latest and greatest security standard. And look how simple this is. It's just one line in your PgBouncer config file. You change auth type to SCRAM-SHA-256. That's it. That one change teaches the bouncer the new security protocol. Reload, and you are back in business.
All right, so we solved the puzzle, we got the party started again. But what did we learn here? What's the big takeaway that's going to save us from this kind of headache down the road?
Well, there's a name for it. Configuration synchronization. It sounds fancy, but it's a dead simple idea. It just means that when two systems have to talk to each other, they have to agree on the basic rules. And in this case, the most important rule was, how do we handle passwords?
And that's the bottom line. The crucial point you have to remember is this: your authentication methods must always be in sync. If you touch password encryption in your database, your very next thought has to be, okay, what's the auth type in PgBouncer? They are two sides of the same coin. It's so easy to forget, but it is absolutely critical.
And that kind of leaves us with one final nagging question, doesn't it? We found this mismatch, but it makes you think, what other silent mismatches are hiding in your configuration files right now? What other little settings are out of sync between your apps, your poolers, and your database, just waiting for one little change to trigger the next big problem?